Stochastic terrorism is a serious threat that we need to understand deeply. It is different from traditional terrorism, which often involves clear, direct actions like bombings or attacks. Stochastic terrorism is harder to see coming because it operates in a more insidious manner. Stochastic terrorism uses words and ideas to incite violence, often through provocative speeches or inflammatory rhetoric. It does not involve direct orders or detailed plans, making it more difficult to trace back to a single source. Instead, it creates an environment where violence is more likely to occur. Imagine a crowded room filled with tension. Someone starts shouting dangerous lies, stirring up emotions. They claim that a certain group of people is dangerous, spreading fear and mistrust. They repeat these lies over and over, reinforcing the dangerous narrative. Some people in the room might start to believe these lies, feeling a mix of anger and fear. They might feel compelled to act on these emotions, driven by the fear and anger instilled in them. This is how stochastic terrorism works, by manipulating emotions to incite violence. It uses fear and anger to push people towards violent actions, even if they were not initially inclined to act violently. The resulting violence is not planned in detail, but it becomes a likely outcome of the hate-filled words. These words create a toxic environment where violence can easily erupt. Stochastic terrorism is a hidden threat, lurking beneath the surface of society. It is like a virus spreading in the dark, infecting minds and hearts with dangerous ideas. We need to understand how it works and recognize the signs early. We need to learn how to protect ourselves and our communities from this insidious threat, fostering resilience and unity. Sadly, we have seen stochastic terrorism in action. The El Paso Walmart shooting in 2019 is one example. The shooter drove for hours to target Latinos. He was motivated by online rhetoric about a Hispanic invasion. This language dehumanized Latinos, painting them as dangerous outsiders. The January 6th Capitol attack is another tragic example. Online platforms were filled with election lies and calls for violence. This created a climate of fear and anger. It led some people to believe that violence was justified.
These events show the real danger of stochastic terrorism. Words have power. They can influence thoughts and actions. When hate speech and disinformation spread unchecked, they can have deadly consequences.
The internet has become a breeding ground for stochastic terrorism. Extremist groups use online platforms to spread their messages of hate. They create echo chambers where people are only exposed to one viewpoint. Disinformation, or intentionally false information, also plays a key role. Bad actors spread lies and conspiracy theories to sow discord and mistrust. They often target marginalized groups, making them scapegoats for complex societal problems.
This constant barrage of hate speech and disinformation creates a toxic online environment. It can warp people's perceptions of reality. It can lead to radicalization and violence.
Stochastic terrorism is not just about individual acts of violence. It also poses a grave threat to democracy itself. Democracy thrives on civil discourse, the respectful exchange of ideas. However, stochastic terrorism undermines this foundation. It replaces reasoned debate with fear-mongering and hate speech. It silences dissenting voices and creates a climate of intolerance.
When people are afraid to speak their minds or engage in meaningful dialogue, democracy suffers. Stochastic terrorism creates divisions in society, making it harder to address critical issues and find common ground.
Social media has a role in stochastic terrorism. Social media platforms have become powerful tools for spreading stochastic terrorism. Their algorithms are designed to keep users engaged, often by showing them content that aligns with their existing beliefs. This can create a dangerous feedback loop.
Users are exposed to increasingly extreme content, reinforcing their biases and making them more susceptible to manipulation. Social media companies have a responsibility to address this issue. They need to take steps to curb the spread of hate speech and disinformation on their platforms.
This includes removing harmful content, suspending accounts that violate their terms of service, and promoting media literacy. We can all play a role in combating stochastic terrorism. It's not just the responsibility of governments or large organizations. It starts with being aware of the problem and understanding how it works. Knowledge is our first line of defense.
We must be vigilant in identifying and rejecting hate speech and disinformation. This means actively looking out for harmful content. Here are some practical steps we can take. Think critically about the information we consume. Always question the source and the intent behind the information. Don't believe everything we read or see online. Skepticism is healthy in the digital age. Check the source of information and look for multiple perspectives. This helps us form a well-rounded view.
Be wary of emotional appeals and sensationalized headlines. These are designed to provoke a reaction. These are often used to manipulate our emotions and bypass our critical thinking skills. Stay calm and analyze the content.
Engage in respectful dialogue with people who hold different views. This fosters understanding and reduces polarization. Listen to their perspectives and try to understand where they're coming from. Empathy is key. Report hate speech and disinformation to social media platforms. This helps to remove harmful content. We can all do our part to create a safer and more inclusive online environment. Every action counts.
By taking these steps, we can help to counter the spread of stochastic terrorism and create a more peaceful and just society. Together, we can make a difference. In today's digital age, we are bombarded with information from countless sources, ranging from news websites and social media platforms to blogs and online forums. With so much information at our fingertips, it can be difficult to know what to believe and what to dismiss as false or misleading. That's why critical thinking is more important than ever. It helps us navigate through the overwhelming sea of information. Critical thinking involves questioning information, analyzing evidence, and forming our own conclusions based on logical reasoning and factual data. It's about being active consumers of information, not passive recipients who accept everything at face value. Here are some essential questions to ask ourselves when evaluating information online. Who created this information? What are their credentials and expertise? Is it from a reputable source that is known for accuracy and reliability? What is the purpose of this information? Is it to inform, persuade, or entertain? Or perhaps to sell something? Is the content designed to provide unbiased facts, or is it trying to influence your opinion or behavior? What evidence is presented to support the claims made? Are there references to credible sources or data? Is the evidence credible and reliable? Does it come from well-regarded studies or experts in the field? Are there other perspectives on this issue? Have you considered different viewpoints and compared them? What do other sources say? Do they corroborate the information or present conflicting evidence? By asking these questions, we can become more discerning consumers of information and less susceptible to manipulation, misinformation, and fake news. Stochastic terrorism thrives on division and mistrust. It seeks to turn us against each other, exploiting our differences to sow discord. That's why it's crucial to counter this threat by building bridges of understanding and empathy.
Empathy means trying to see the world from another person's perspective, even if we don't agree with them. It means recognizing their humanity and treating them with respect. When we practice empathy, we break down barriers and create connections. We open ourselves up to the possibility of finding common ground, even in the face of disagreement.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the problem of stochastic terrorism. It can seem like an insurmountable challenge. But it's important to remember that we all have a role to play in combating this threat.
Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every effort to bridge divides makes a difference. When we choose compassion over hate, understanding over division, we create a ripple effect that spreads outward, touching the lives of others. We may not be able to solve this problem overnight, but we can make a difference. By working together, we can create a more peaceful and just world for ourselves and for generations to come.
The threat of stochastic terrorism is real and growing, but we are not powerless against it. By understanding how it works, recognizing its signs, and taking action to counter its spread, we can protect ourselves, our communities, and our democracy. This is a call to action for each and every one of us.
Let us commit to being critical consumers of information, rejecting hate speech and disinformation, engaging in respectful dialogue, promoting empathy and understanding. Together, let us create a world where hate and violence have no place, a world where all people can live in peace and dignity.
The fight against stochastic terrorism is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It requires sustained effort, vigilance, and a commitment to building a better future. We must never become complacent in the face of hate and division. We must always strive to create a world where everyone feels safe, respected, and valued. By embracing unity, empathy, and understanding, we can overcome the forces of darkness and build a brighter future for all. Let us choose hope over fear, love over hate, and peace over violence. The future of humanity depends on it. Stay of love.